there's really too much you can say about her. But one thing that I can say for sure is that you couldn't not love her. She was amazing. She was just, she never met a stranger. She always was there for anybody if you ever needed her or anything like that. She, I can say for sure, loved me, gave me of that, loved all of her family. And she was just one of the greatest people you could ever ask for. And I know we all really miss her, and we have to keep our head up through this, and it'll be good. And I know we'll see her again.
That's right.
She was very loving. She was very kind. She always loved us, and she loved everybody. She never met a stranger, but she loved to have fun.
Now my turn. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
It's funny, I've probably spoken to everybody on a one-on-one basis, but standing up here in front of everyone is different. Maegan. I have a lot I can say about my daughter. To know her was to love her. She was beautiful on the inside and the out. She had a positive attitude. She was optimistic. She was thankful, grateful, quick to forgive, very loving, sweet, kind, funny, fun-loving, exciting, passionate, compassionate, a social butterfly. She was a winner. She would not take no for an answer. She was affectionate. She loved strong, and she loved deep.
Yeah.
She was irresistible. She did not judge others. And throughout all of this battle with her disease, she never complained.
Yeah.
She was the person you wanted to be around. Not knowing it, she lit up a room. When she walked in it, she was a fighter. She wanted to live. She was determined to not let Huntington's disease steal her joy. You have to bear with me just a moment. She was willing to go to great lengths to improve her quality of life. So she had brain surgery in 2021. But I'm going to take you back in time. And maybe I can get through this because it's not so sad. When Maegan was 2 years old, she had a motorized pink Barbie car. And one day, we went outside. Can you hear me? We went outside so she could ride it. She got in it, and beside her was her huge Winnie the Pooh stuffed animal. It was about as big as her. She had her blonde hair in a ponytail on top of her head and her cool little shades on. She proceeded to ride around the yard, making her way to the neighborhood road. I began to holler for her to come back, but she ignored me and continued to press the pedal and steer that pink Barbie car away from me. I ran to catch her as her little blonde ponytail bounced in the wind. She never looked back. It was then I would have my hands full with this stubborn little girl.
That's right.
Then, when she was 9 or 10 years old, she got a bus referral. The bus driver claimed Maegan would not obey the bus rules. I asked Maegan about it, and she straight-faced said that it was not true. So, I went to her defense, like I always did, and I argued with the bus driver. The school district then approved for a camera to be placed on the bus. So, the camera was placed on the bus. A few days later, I got a call from the principal. He wanted to see me in his office to review the footage. So we went back, sat down, he pushed play, and my jaw dropped. So Maegan was not sitting in the bus, facing forward like she was supposed to. She was turned around in her seat, talking to the neighbors behind her, beside her, rolling down the window, waving to people walking by. And I told the principal, I said, you will not have a problem with her again. Then, you might really like this one. When she was 12 years old, she was issued her first driver's license number. Yes, I said 12. Her driver's license number. So one day while I was at work, she called me in a panic. She said that some man had stolen my car, wrecked it, and was now hiding in the woods behind the house. I wasn't really concerned because I knew it wasn't true, so I told her to call 911 and that I was on my way home. So when I arrived home, there was a fire truck, an ambulance, a state trooper, and 2 county deputies. I got out of my car and I met the state trooper. And he said, can I come show you something? And I said, well, there's nobody hiding in the back of the house in the woods. Call off the search. She did this. Trust me, it's her. And he said, well, that's what kind of concerns me because the passengers in the other vehicles said that it was a short person that looked like driving the car. I said, it was her. He said, and the doors are locked and the seats pushed all the way to the front. I said, I'm telling you, it was her. So I go inside and I find Maegan sitting on the couch and she's got her hands in her face like that. She would not talk to me. She wouldn't answer questions. She ignored me. So at that point, I walked over to the refrigerator. I had, just for her, not Josh, but just for Maegan, I had a vase with water. It had switches in it. So I walked over to the refrigerator, grabbed the switches, knocked the vase off. It broke. I went and I grabbed Josh, and I drug him down the hall to the bathroom. And he said, Maegan, I'm so sorry, but Mom, Maegan took her car. Because he was fixing to get a whipping. So I asked the trooper if he would, scare her, take her down to the jail or something. He refused to do it. So, let's see, I lost my place of service here. Okay, so, I think that may have been when restriction began. So, she got put on restriction, she was issued a citation, we went to court. Okay. We went to court, and that's when her driver's license number was issued to her, along with 3 months of community service. All this happened on 9/11. We all remember that day very well. Then a few years later, Maegan and Josh were spending the weekend with their dad. I called him to speak to her, and he told me she had gone with her friends, Carrie and Amanda, probably. You'll remember this one, you too, Rebecca. She had gone with her friends to the dance barn. I had forbid her to go to the dance barn because I basically didn't know anything about it. So she thought I wouldn't find out since she was at her dad's, but little did she know, I found out. And what did I do? I went to the dance barn. I walked in, looked around, and I spotted her over on the dance floor. And I went over there and I grabbed her. We walked outside. The owner saw me and followed me outside and asked me if everything was okay. And I told her, no, it's not okay. She's not supposed to be here. And she told me, well, she explained that it's just a nice place for young teenagers to come and hang out and have fun. There's, obviously no drinking, no smoking, no drugs, just a safe place for her to go, or for them to go and have a good time. So after that, she was allowed to go. Then, oh my goodness.
DJ.
Not too long ago, and Greg, you'll remember this one. Not too long ago after that, on a Friday night, a bunch of her friends were going to hang out at the river. She was probably on restriction as usual, so she was not allowed to go. She went to bed, I fell asleep on the couch. I woke up around, I guess it was around midnight or something, and I just felt like I need to go check on her. So I walked into her bedroom, It was dark. There was a little light that shone through from the outside street light. And as I looked at her laying in bed, something just didn't seem right. I mean, she was fully covered up and had a little blonde hair sticking out. So I walked over to the side of the bed and I looked, and I took the covers and I jerked them away. No Maegan. There's no Maegan. Towels, clothes, bunched up to make it look like a body, and a baby doll with blonde hair. What furious was not even the word. I knew where she was. She was down in the river. So, I won't give you all the details because it's bad, but I did go looking for her with a flashlight in one hand and a belt in the other. And I found her, and I brought her home. This is where it might get tough for me. She was a joy to have around, even if she lived most of her teenage years on restriction. But the bottom line is she enjoyed life and she had fun, even if she broke the rules. She got a lot of living done in her almost 35 years.
Yeah.
To her, having the best fun ever was worth the consequences later.
Yeah.
When confronted with a problem, she would always say, "I'll figure it out," or "I've got this."
Yep.
Even when the outcome seemed dim, she would always say, "I'll figure it out, Mom," or "I've got this, Mom." Drive me crazy. She could not win, you could not win an argument with her, and you couldn't stay mad at her. She would force you to laugh when you did not want to be laughing. You wanted to be mad. And oh my gosh, she was a terrible driver. She scared me lots of times. She just pressed the gas and go. I mean, if she needs to get in the right lane, she didn't look back. She just, maybe glanced in the mirror. She just went and hoped nothing was there. Oh, she scared me. She would sing, and it was not pretty, bless her heart. I would just tell her, just stick to being beautiful, Maegan. It was a joke, and she knew it. She would just sing louder for me. At her high school graduation, all the parents around me were crying, but not me. I was hollering, "Hallelujah, we made it." Every single morning to get up to go to school was a challenge, a struggle. Not for her, for me. 3, 4, she just would not wake up. So by the time she graduated, I was happy. And she was probably one of the only seniors that had to go to school the last week of school because she skipped so much. I forgot a story. It just occurred to me.
Please don't DJ in the closet.
Oh, yeah.
Closet.
Yeah. I can't remember the lady's name at the Lake Butler High School, but she was the receptionist. She called me one day and she said, "Maegan's not at school."
Debbie.
So as usual, I left work, rode around Lake Butler looking for her, and I saw my green Ford Explorer parked at Karen's Quick Stop. And I walked in there. And the lady said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Nope, I'm headed to the tanning beds." I got up there, knocked on the door, heard a sweet little voice, "Somebody's in here." And I said, "Get your butt out here right now." And she was dressed. She was out of the tanning bed and dressed and out there in like less than a minute. Took her back to school. Maegan was diagnosed with Huntington's in April of 2015. But looking back at old videos, I saw the signs as early as 2013.
Yeah.
The disease progressed fast. In November 2019, we were having a fire making s'mores. She loved to do that. At this time, she was still able to eat and feed herself. But 5 days before Thanksgiving, she choked on a marshmallow. It was dark and there wasn't much light. I did not know she was choking because it was dark. She stood up, looked at me with her eyes as big as saucers. She took 2 steps, fell down on her knees. She got back up. Took 2 more steps. I ran towards her, screaming, what's wrong, Maegan? She fell flat on her back, out like a light. She was unresponsive. Nolan, Caden, and Addie were screaming and crying behind me. I left her laying there as I ran inside to grab my cell phone. I called 911. I don't remember what the dispatcher said, but she told me there had been a bad accident near me and all 4 units from Bradford were not available. So they called Union County. And I'm in the medical field, but I'm going to tell you something. When something like that happens, especially to your child, for me anyway, all my medical training went out the window. I panicked, but for 26 minutes I had to do CPR on her. When I tried to give her a rescue breath, that's when I realized her airway was blocked. But because it was dark, I could not see. I could not see what was in her mouth, so I just continued compressions for 26 minutes. I remember crying out to God while compressing, please don't take my back. And he didn't. He gave us 4 years and 4 months more time with her. Maegan wanted to live. More than anything, she was determined to not let Huntington steal her life away from her. She was willing to go to great lengths to have a better quality of life. So she had a deep brain stimulator placed in her brain, February of 2021. This gave her a good year of a better quality of life. She no longer needed assistance walking, bathing, dressing, or feeding herself. But because there's no cure for Huntington's, she once again began to lose the ability to help herself. But her disability did not stop her from living. There have been many times I've cried because I could not fix her. I've been grieving for her for many years. I would cry and tell her how unfair life is, and I would apologize for not being more patient with her. She's forgiving though. She understood that it was the disease that I hated. I hated to see her lose herself. I hated to see her lose the ability to walk, talk, and eat. I would cry because I could not fix her. I prayed to God for healing so many times and believed that she could be healed if he chose to. At the crying times, she would encourage me and let me know it was okay to cry. I'm the one that should have been encouraging her, but instead, she encouraged me. She fought to live. She fought to be present in our lives, especially her children's. She was as active as her poor, disabled body held her to be. And even though she was trapped inside a physical body that would not cooperate, her mind and her personality did not change. She still was all about her family and fun. She would get in the pool and play. She would play Mario Kart. And you better believe she did not like losing. Not too long ago, she was playing Mario Kart with the kids, and I don't know if any of y'all know the game Mario Kart. If you get stuck on a wall, you gotta get off the wall. But with her inability to really control the remote control, she was stuck on the wall and couldn't get loose. When the kids tried to help her, you couldn't help her. She would pull away. She did not want any help. She still wanted to be independent. Somehow, one day she managed to get on Addie's trampoline. She didn't jump, but the kids would jump around her as she sat there laughing and taking it all in. And then for Christmas, I bought Caden a gymnastics mat. He would help her to the mat, and she would do front rollovers with him. We would sit at the table and play Yahtzee or a matching game. She would struggle to turn the cards over, but eventually she would manage it. She would try coloring with the kids too. She did not give up. And oh, how she loved music. It was very therapeutic for her. All the time, we would have Alexa playing along with the TV and phones. I learned to tune out the noise because it was very noisy at my house most of the time. I miss the noise. I miss her. I miss her laughter. I miss her smile. And what I would give to be able to brush her hair again. Brush her teeth one more time. Bathe her one more time. Wipe her mouth one more time. Help her put on her clothes and her shoes one more time. Sing a duet with her one more time. Feed her and help her walk one more time. Rub her feet and give her a kiss goodnight one more time. If only I could hug her tight and squeeze her one more time. Or to tell her how much I love her just one more time. There is a huge empty hole in my life that only she filled. Life will never be the same. I will never be the same. 8 days before she passed away, I sat in my recliner, crying, and silently I asked God, how much longer, Lord? How much longer are you going to let her suffer? I did not know in 8 days he would say to her, Maegan, it's time for you to come home. And just like that, she was gone. She opened her eyes in heaven. You see, I knew we were nearing the end, just not that quick. I had plans to call the doctor, to suggest a feeding tube, against her wishes, of course. But God had other plans for her. And even though her earthly body is no longer with us, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, she is in heaven with Jesus, and she is able to walk, talk, run, and do all the things that she could not do here. And I will see her again one day when it's my time to go home.
Amen.
Nolan, she called you her first love, her baby love. There's something special about the firstborn. She was my first, and you were her first. For 9 months, she carried you in her womb. And then after laboring for 22 hours, you were born, and she continued to carry you. You were loved by your mom, and as she would say only to you, she loved you times infinity. The last time you were with your mom, Nolan, she was unable to walk, and you picked her up and you carried her. I'm sure she was proud of you for doing that. In that simple act of carrying her, you expressed your love to the person who birthed you. You were loved by your mom so much, and you should feel honored to have helped your mother when she could no longer help herself. Hayden, Mommy went through a dark time, but then you came into her life.
Yeah.
You were such a big baby, a little chunky monkey, as she used to say. She would carry you around, Hayden. I don't even know how she did it because you were so big and healthy. She never gave you baby food out of a jar. Did you know that? She cooked, and she fed you from her plate. She wanted to be the best mother in the world. And I'm so thankful for our cell phones that have recordings of when you were younger too, Nolan, because I don't want you to forget about her as you grow older. She loved you, sweet Hayden, so, so much. Even though she's in heaven, she has not forgotten about you or Bubba. and we will see her again. In closing, I'd like to say how thankful I am that God promises a reunion for those who know Him. Maegan was determined to live and fought hard to stay with us as long as she could. She suffered greatly the last 5 or so years, but she's not suffering anymore. I'm thankful for the 34 years, 11 months, and 12 days I had her in my life. I look forward to spending eternity with her, never having to say goodbye again. I can only imagine what she is experiencing right now at this moment in paradise. And even though I miss her terribly, it makes my heart physically ache. I'm comforted to know that she is safe with Jesus and no longer sick. Thank you to everyone who came out today to celebrate Maegan's life with us. I appreciate it so much. Thank you, Jamie, for what you're about to sing. She's got the voice of an angel, guys. If you've never heard her sing, you're in for a treat. Thank you, Jamie. And Maegan, to you, Maegan, Josh and I say love, love.